Down in sunny Florida, where the palms sway but the stories still hit heavy, there's only one joint the Pizzaverse calls home: Willie's Pub. Run by Willie, the Pizzaverse press secretary himself. He don't just serve drinks, he serves the truth. Forget the tourist traps, the plastic margaritas, and the Mickey Mouse cocktails. At Willie's Pub, you're sipping real whiskey, eating sausage and peppers, and hearing tales that'd make the newspapers blush. It's the Florida escape with a Jersey soul. You'll find the wise guys sweating in linen shirts, the capos playing bocce out back, and Willie behind the bar, breaking down the headlines with more bite than a Florida gator. Sun, loyalty, and a stiff drink. What more you need? So whether you're flying in from Jersey or already sweating in the Keys, make sure you stop in. Willie's Pub, Florida's favorite hangout of the Pizzaverse. And remember, what happens in Willie's don't stay in Willie's. It becomes the next headline.
Bugs, what the fuck you doing in there, you prick?
It was one of them Jersey nights where the fog rolls in thick, like a cheap suit covering up bad business. The street lamps looked like they was struggling to stay lit, and the only glow worth trusting came from the busted neon of Willie's Pub, flickering open like a promise and a threat all in one. Inside, the crew was set up the way they always was. The ensues, holding court, jawing about who's loyal and who's full of shit. Tommy Stiggs, drunk but sharp, flinging insults like darts. Alv, with his glasses slid down his nose, talking history nobody asked about. Toddfather, bum knee stretched on a chair, moaning like a widow at a funeral, and sliding in cool as ice. See no evil, shades on indoors, sitting back with that grin like he already knew how this night was going to play out. Tommy slammed his glass down, pointing at Todd. One more word about that fucking knee brace, Todd, and it's up your sister's ass. The place roared with laughter. See no evil chuckled low, lifting his glass. Tommy, you kill me, but Todd, he ain't wrong. That brace has gotten more airtime than Sinatra on this jukebox. That's when the door groaned open. The jukebox died mid-fly me to the moon. The lights blinked like they was thinking about quitting. And through the fog stepped nightmares. Frankenstein's monster, bolts sparking, shoulders wide enough to block the doorway. Wolfman, hair wild, teeth flashing, eyes like hot coals. The mummy, bandages trailing across the sticky floor like a roll of cheap charmin. Swamp Thing, smelling like Newark sewer after a storm, dripping green slime every step. They stomped in heavy, heading for the bar. Frankie slammed a paw on the counter. Beer! Willie barely looked up from wiping a glass. Cash or card, pal? Wolfman growled. Toddfather groaned. Swamp Thing leaked algae on Todd's shoe, and he howled louder than Wolfman. That's when Tommy stood, finger jab in the air. You listen here, Frankenstein's fucking cousin. This is Willie's Pub. This is Pizzaverse turf. You don't walk in here like you own it. You know where you walk in? Up your sister's ass. The monsters ain't built for taking insults. Frankie flipped a whole table like it was cardboard. Wolfman lunged for Tommy, teeth bared. The mummy's wrappings lashed out, catching Alv around the throat. Swamp Thing snatched Toddfather's brace right off his leg, holding it in the air like a prize. That's when the crew went to work. The ensues grabbed a pool cue, cracking it across Frankenstein's bolts. Tommy smashed a bar stool over Wolfman's back, screaming, "Up your sister's ass!" loud enough to rattle the bottles. Alv, even while gagged in mummy cloth, managed to mumble, "You know, technically this is ancient linen," before lighting the bastard up with a sambuca shot. Toddfather, tears streaming, tackled Swamp Thing with both hands, screaming like he was wrestling the devil himself. And see no evil? Cool as ever, slid his shades down just enough to glare at Frankie. Then he swung a whiskey bottle, shattering it across the monster's square head. "That's for dripping swamp juice on Todd's loafer, you ugly fuck." The bar exploded in chaos. Chairs flying, fists landing, monsters roaring, wise guys shouting. Sinatra still hummed faintly from the jukebox, like the soundtrack to the apocalypse. The monsters stumbled but rose again, tougher, angrier, stinkier. Frankenstein roared, bolts sparking. Wolfman shook off the stool hit. The mummy smoldered from the sambuca fire. Swamp Thing oozed like a busted sewer pipe. Thiendu spit blood on the floor. You want another round? You got it. Tommy cracked his knuckles. Plenty more up your sister's ass where that came from. See No Evil just smirked, slid his shades back on. Let's dance, freaks. And they charged again. This time the crew moved like a machine. Thiendu ducked Wolfman's swipe, planting the pool cue deep in his gut. Tommy tackled Frankie into the jukebox, Dean Martin blaring, "That's amore," as the monster howled. Alf whacked the mummy over the head with his history book, yelling, "Read up, you son of a bitch." Toddfather, fueled by rage, smashed his brace across Swamp Thing's jaw, shouting, "Not today, slimeball." And see no evil? He pulled a pair of brass knuckles from his jacket like he'd been waiting all night for this moment. One clean shot, right between Frankenstein's bolts. The big bastard dropped like a sack of wet cement.
Pizzaverse Spirit of Halloween Drama Kings costume line. Step right up, Piscenes and Ghouls, to the Pizzaverse Spirit of Halloween exclusive collection. The only costume line where you don't gotta dress up like Dracula to scare the neighborhood. You just gotta look like these mugs. First up, Tommy Stiggs. He comes with the Adidas track jacket, the Invicto watch that won't quit ticking, and enough back-in-the-day stories to put your whole block to sleep. Oh, and don't forget the rubber duck, because apparently, why not? Next, the Endu. Yeah, this one's a gem. You get the "I'm done" button, big and shiny, so he can slam it every time someone asks him to do something. Comes complete with Union card prop and his trusty stuffed pit bull, Vito, who's the only one in the crew with real bite. Then you got Alv. Candlelight? Check. Skeleton Raven? Check. Ghost stories nobody asked for? Double check. And just in case you need a prop, you get a law degree so you too can argue endlessly with strangers about nothing. Roll out the fire for CNO Evil 69. Flaming skull, leather jacket, and the legendary alibi shades. Comes with earplugs, too. Not for you, but for everyone else who's tired of hearing him explain how he wasn't there when it happened. And of course, you get the fire, because he's hotter than Tony Pizza's overdue rent notice. And finally, the Toddfather. Comes with the pizza knee brace, extra fake for authenticity, a slice of cardboard pepperoni pie, and more sob stories than a Hallmark Channel marathon. Wear this one, and everybody in the room's gonna know you ain't walking straight, but you sure as hell talk crooked. So don't waste time at Spirit buying a vampire cape. Get yourself a Pizzaverse exclusive costume. 'Cause nothing says Halloween like bad alibis, fake braces, ghost stories, and ducks named Vito. This October, the real monsters are on YouTube.
The bar was a wreck. Tables smashed, glass everywhere, swamp water puddled by the door. The monsters lay in a heap, groaning and wheezing. Willie finally set down his rag. "You boys gonna pay for this mess?" Thiendu tossed a crumpled roll of bills. "Put it on Tony Pizza's tab." The whole bar broke into laughter. Tommy raised his glass, slurring one last time like a battle cry. "Up your sister's ass!" The jukebox crooned, "That's life," like it knew the fight was won. And that was the night the monsters learned you don't step into the Pizzaverse without paying respect, or getting your ass handed back to you. The moral one is 31 Sigurman. The monsters? They ain't just fairy tales with teeth. They're every grifter, every fake, every bum who thinks they can stomp into your place and take something that ain't theirs. But the Pizzaverse ain't built like that. We stick together. We fight as one. And no matter how ugly the swamp things get, we make sure they crawl back out worse than they came in. So if you want more stories like this, where wise guys and monsters collide, where laughs mix with chaos, and where the truth always wins out, you know where to go. Bambi's channel. That's the headquarters. That's the stronghold. That's the Pizzaverse. Hit subscribe, smash that bell, spread the word. Because the monsters can try, but at the end of the night, this is the Pizzaverse and we don't miss. Thanks for watching.